and welcome to Zer Learning English. Today I am going to teach you a new lesson, A Baker from Goa, written by Lucio Rodriguez. He was a great Konkani essayist. He wrote several articles in English and Konkani to various periodicals and magazines. He served as the visiting professor of folklore at many universities and also as a professor of English in Mumbai and Goa. His essays were posthumously published under the title of Soil and Soul and Konkani Folklore Tales. Subtle humor and informal narration are the essential features of his writing. Let's move to the lesson. In this lesson, he talks about his childhood days and it is a pen portrait of traditional Goan village bakers. Our elders are often here reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. Here, the writer starts the lesson with how the narrator's elders often recall the times when the Goa was under the rule of Portuguese. They talk how the importance of bakers is still maintained in their village even after the Portuguese have left. Here the word reminiscing means remembering. They're reminiscing nostalgically. They are thinking fondly about the past. We still have amongst us the mixers, the molders and those who bake the loaves. Those age-old time-tested furnace still exist. The bakers, the mixers and molders and their time-tested furnaces continues to serve the people of Goa with their famous bread loaves. All these furnaces still there without any damage. And the fire in the furnace has not yet been extinguished. That means the furnaces are still burning. The fire has yet been put off. Here the word extinguish means put off. The thud and the jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo heralding his arrival in the morning can still be heard in some places. Maybe the father is not alive but the son still carries on the family possessions. These bakers are even today known as a paida in Goa. When the baker arrives, he has a bamboo stick in his hand and he beat on the ground to know the baker is arrived. Maybe the father is not alive. The tradition will be carried by their son. It is possible that the original ones may not exist, but their profession is being continued by their sons. These bakers are even known as today the Pedar in Goa. And the next paragraph. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion and guide. He used to come at least twice a day. Here the author recalling the baker acted as their friend and companion during their childhood days in Goa. The baker is very friendly with them and the baker used to visit twice a day. Once while he was on the round to sell his loaves and other time while returning back with his empty basket, having sold all the loaves. After selling the bread loaves, he returned back to again his house, the other's house. The jiggling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? Was it for the love of the loaf? No, not at all. The loaves were brought by some Paskins or Bastins, the maid servant of the house. What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. Sometimes it was the sweet bread of special make. The narrator continues, It was the sound of his bamboo sticks, the baker's bamboo sticks, the sound of bamboo stick. Then wake up all the children up. The children were so excited to meet him. Why they are so excited? Because the children were so excited to meet him and choose from the bread bangles or congan he made especially for them. While the bangles were for children, laws were for the adults that were generally collected by the maid servant of the household. Sometimes it was a sweet bread of special make. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with the jang jang sound of his specially made bamboo stuff. One hand supported the basket on his head and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. He would greet the lady of the house with good morning and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. Wickets would be pushed aside amid rebuke and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. Here the narrator explains when the baker comes with a making some sound, a jang jang, a sound of specially made bamboo sound. Here his one hand supported the basket on his head and the other hand banged the bamboo on the ground. He would go house to house and greet the ladies before handing over the loaves. The children stand around him and they would climb a bench or the wall to peep into the basket. Here the word rebuke means an expression of disapproval or scolding. When the children are tried to peep up into the basket, the parents scolding them. But we would not give up. We would climb a bench or a parapet and peep into the basket. Somehow, I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth or brush our mouths properly. And why should we? Who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush, and why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushed his teeth. Horty could wash and clean up everything so nicely after all. When the baker reached at his house, the children are eager and they surrounded by him, and the parents would scold the children and make them stand aside. They did not even bother to brush their teeth before having those bread bangles because it seemed unnecessary effort for them to pluck mango leaves from the branches to use them for brushing the teeth. They considered the brushing unnecessary because the Horty could effortlessly wash their mouth, and they thought that animals like the tiger never brush their teeth. Horty could wash, the tea will wash the everything nicely. I hope you can understand the lesson. See you in the next class. Okay, thank you.